Hey viewers and viewers, my name is General Red Strategist, and in preparation for Christmas 2025, let's do something a little special, ladies and gentlemen. This is Coffee, Snow and You, a short VN that you can find on Steam. So this one has sort of a festive atmosphere to it. It's Christmassy, New Year-ish, kind of like that. And I don't really know anything about the story, other than the fact that it is festive aesthetics and all. I think you play as a guy who works in a coffee shop or something, and I assume there are some romantic options. But most of the Steam reviews, I think, are saying that you can complete this in maybe an hour or just under. So I think it'll probably do for some nice Christmassy content here on the channel in the run-up to Christmas 2025. If you had £1 for every time I said Christmas, I don't know, you'd probably be moderately wealthier by now. This scene here makes it look like we're supposed to be in Japan. Is it like Shibuya or somewhere? Is that where we're meant to be? Start. Nope, and we're straight in. If Tom were asked what superpower would you want, he would answer without hesitation, immortality. Teleportation, a banal but practical choice, might secure second place, but the third? That'd be something entirely unimaginable. More than immortality or teleportation, Tom longed for just one thing, to never sleep again. Not that he disliked sleeping, Tom rather enjoyed it. What he despised was waking up at 8 AM to drag himself to work. Each early rise was a torture. The alarm would blare, Tom would wake, curse humanity, and with a heavy sigh, an essential component, turn off the musical abomination. But today humanity had a stroke of luck. Instead of his usual morning groan, Tom grabbed his phone, lifted his sleep mask with one hand and checked the date. That day, December the 31st, a holiday. Yeah, screw it, Tom murmured, collapsing back into bed. Let's not judge our student too harshly. Like any night owl, Tom was ready to hate just about anything that dared to exist in his world before 1 PM. Without exception. He didn't discriminate. His pre-noon ire extended equally to elders, women and children. He hates everybody equally. Still, today had a mitigating effect. Tom seemed a little less angry, a bit less inclined to set fire to the mall where he worked. Perhaps the festive air had managed to worm its way into his heart, subtly dismantling his bad mood from the inside. After all, it was New Year's Eve, a day of bustling holiday cheer. Children would beg their parents for gifts, parents would empty their savings, and everyone would be content. By evening the city would drown in an aura of collective happiness, because that's just how it was supposed to be. On such days, being grumpy was unacceptable, reserved for misanthropes and neurotics. So, Tom crawled out of bed in a neutral, possibly even borderline positive mood. Humanity was safe. 15 minutes later, fully dressed, Tom descended to the kitchen, where he found a small envelope on the table. On it, scrawled in clumsy kanji, were the words, "To Goodman-kun." Tom pulled out a note from the envelope. Goodman-kun. I'm going to give this a random accent, because you know, I always love giving my strange accents when I do these VNs. Let's go Irish for this one, shall we? Goodman-kun. We're there to visit relatives, so you'll be the only one in the dorm. Hope you can enjoy New Year. We'll be back on the 3rd. Mitsuru and Izumi. P.S. Feel free to invite guests over for the holiday. P.P.S. Please water the plants in the living room tomorrow. So that's it. They were gone too. First Mike, then Yuzuru and Satoshi, and now his host family. That explains why the house is so cold. Tom looked at the note again, his eyes catching on one word. Guests. I should message Laura, he thought, pulling out his phone. Laura was Tom's girlfriend, still back in London. They hadn't even seen each other in almost a year, and lately Tom suspected they were both contemplating a breakup. At least, that's what he thought. Laura, for her part, seemed perfectly content with their long-distance relationship. Hey, Happy New Year's Eve. How are you? Everyone's gone here, I'm alone in the whole house. I can walk around naked and put Prodigy at full volume. I get me todger out and just swang it around. A bit of Christmas sausage. After a pause he added, actually no, I can't walk around naked. My Christmas sausage isn't a full-on Cumberland, it's more like a chipolata. It's freezing in here like the damn Arctic. Satisfied that the message sent, Tom started making breakfast. I may have added a few lines of my own there, but sure. After demolishing his bacon and eggs and washing it down with tea, an essential for any functional Englishman, Tom got ready for work. This month, Mother Nature decided to fully embrace the winter spirit, blanketing Japan with double its usual snowfall. Everything was covered. Streets, buildings, trees. Walking outside felt treacherous, as though the generous snowfall might turn vindictive and dump itself right down Tom's back. Even so, the weather didn't irritate him as much as usual. The magic of December 31st was working. Tom walked down the street, lost in thought. My first New Year here. He'd come to Japan in March on a student exchange programme. Things had been fine. He settled fine into the dorms, found a part-time job. Friends, however, had eluded him, but that wasn't surprising. He walked around the house, all the time, with his todger out, and that's just a bit weird. Japan wasn't exactly the friendliest place for migrants, and Tom wasn't one to actively forge connections. Japan certainly wasn't exactly the friendliest place for migrants, especially migrants who walk around with their todger out. Work and school consumed most of his time, and whatever was left, he spent resting. And so he'd lived, right up to New Year's Eve. It seemed this would be the first New Year he'd spent entirely alone. The thought filled Tom with sadness. For the first time in months, he fully realised just how lonely he was. The feeling had been there all along, ingrained in him, but he hadn't dwelled on it. Until now, when it struck him like a hammer to the chest. Like a hammer to the groin, a hammer to the todger. This is the bit, ladies and gentlemen. This is the joke I've settled on, and I'm committing to the bit. In London he had friends, a girlfriend. They had traditions, like going to the movies on Saturdays and dissecting the plot over coffee afterward. Here, there was none of that. Here he only had freeze, snow and solitude. Tom pictured his evening, watching a streamer on his laptop, buying himself turkey, cheese and wine, and counting down the hours until it was over as he wrapped a hand around his todger and jerked himself off like crazy. Tomorrow morning would feel easier. Tom sighed. That's life. Probably everyone celebrates the New Year alone at least once in their life. Tom walked on, and little by little he calmed down. He was overreacting. Things weren't so bad. The city, meanwhile, was waking up, preparing to bid farewell to the year. The holiday spirit filled the air, and like everyone else, Tom couldn't help but hope for something good to happen. It was New Year's, after all, a time for miracles. Even working on such a day didn't feel as dull as usual. Right, where's your title? Coffee, Snow, Todgers and You. Coffee, Snow and You, sorry. To the shop where I work. Oh, never mind. We're going to have the city first. Reaching the mall where he worked, Tom checked his messages one more time. Nothing. Laura was probably already asleep. It's worth explaining that Tom lived slightly in the future. Japan was 9 hours ahead of London. When Tom's clock read out at 9 AM, it was only midnight in London, so Laura likely wouldn't reply for another 7 hours. Tom sighed and a white puff of breath escaped his lips. For a few moments he stood looking at the sky as if it might give him an answer. But the sky, of course, was silent, and only faint snowflakes sparkled in the sunlight. Shaking his head, Tom put his phone in his pocket and headed to the staff entrance. The morning routine at the cafe always brought him a certain calming satisfaction. He liked entering the completely empty hall, putting on some music and turning on the lights. I wonder if there's actually a way to show off this screen here. Did they have like a key in this game for, I don't know, minimising the text box or something? Is it like control? Oh god. I think I just clicked skip or something. Well, space apparently advances the text. These small efforts breathe life and warmth into the cafe, which felt especially precious in the cold winter. Okay, it's not shift either. There probably is a... if I click cross, what's that going to do? Is that going to actually minimise the thing? Only one thing about these morning rituals saddened Tom. They happened in the morning. His favourite working hours coincided with his least favourite time of day, and it caused him immense suffering. He'd rather be in bed, whacking one out with his todger. You could say that on the scale of suffering he ranked somewhere between Prometheus and Tantalus. Wow. Yeah, you're on the same level as Prometheus, Tom. Of course you are. Prometheus, who was being, having his guts pecked out, wasn't it? Was it Prometheus who had his guts pecked out by birds? He was chained to a rock by the gods for giving humanity the gift of fire. Oh yes, poor Tom. He's such a modern-day Prometheus. And on certain days when Tom felt particularly gloomy, Prometheus didn't even come close. You know what, I'm going to go away from my normal voice. I'm going to give him a right foppish, over-dramatic voice. Tom, that is. Reflecting on Prometheus, Tantalus and the Roman Empire, Tom accepted a delivery, opened the register, made himself a test espresso, and opened TikTok on his phone. A couple of minutes remained until opening, but the barista wasn't worried. In 6 months of working there, he discovered that customers almost never showed up right at opening time. They start trickling in about half an hour later at best. Plenty of time to crank one out with his todger. And indeed, at precisely 10 AM... Right, I'm going to stop this horrible bit. It's not even that funny. And indeed, at precisely 10 AM, Tom flipped the sign to open, glanced at the mall entrance, one visitor walked in, and went back to watching funny videos. But after a few minutes, right when a cat in the video managed to fish a mouse out of a toaster, a customer appeared on the horizon. The cafe where Tom... Sorry. There's a gas coming up my throat then from my tea that I had before. The cafe where Tom worked had a very advantageous location. From his spot, he could see everyone coming up the escalator to the floor. Today it was a man, about 50 years old, stylishly dressed, but very sullen. Clearly not Japanese. "Walk past," Tom silently willed him. "Don't come in. Shoo!" And indeed, the man walked past. Tom sighed in relief. He wasn't ready to deal with grumpy non-Japanese customers just yet. He only wants the hot girl customers, I guess. His wish came true. The next person on the escalator was a young woman who was unmistakably Japanese. What's more, she didn't just arrive, she practically ran up to the floor. Without slowing down, she rushed towards the cafe but tripped halfway, tangling her legs. Tom was already anticipating a grand fall, but the girl staggered a few steps and managed to regain her balance. Then she dashed to the cafe and yanked the door open abruptly. "Alright, what accent are we giving you?" I've already got Irish. Dramatic. Shall we go Australian? "Get easier, you wallaby." "No." Tom waited for the girl to sigh in relief before continuing. "But he called. Told me to let you know you're fired." "G'day what? And why didn't you tell him I was in the restroom?" "I did. But he demanded I turn on the camera and show your signature in the logbook." "Ugh. I was only 10 minutes late. What's the big deal?" "Considering you were supposed to arrive 30 minutes before opening, I'm not sure." "G'day, I had a valid reason, you wallaby." "You always say that." Whatever. I'll change and call him." Kanazawa, the girl's name, quickly headed to the back room, leaving Tom to ponder whether he should confess. Say it's a joke, or keep silent. I should probably say it's a joke, right? After some thought, Tom walked to the back room. "Oh, I just got an achievement. Good boy, you saved Kanazawa," and knocked on the door. "Kanazawa-kun, I was joking. Mishima-san didn't call." "G'day, seriously?" came a voice from behind the door. "Yes." "Ugh, what a relief. God, your jokes are fucking terrible, you loser. You're gonna give me a bloody heart attack, lad." "Be thankful I told you. I could have stayed quiet." "Well, someone's grown new neural connections. Thanks for not making the situation worse than you put me in, you wallaby." "You put yourself in it by being late. You should arrive on time. The indignity." "I said I had a valid reason." "You always say that." Kanazawa groaned in frustration. "Enough, leave me alone," she snapped, and Tom returned to his spot. A few minutes later, Kanazawa emerged. "Thanks for letting me know, you wallaby. I was about to call." "No problem. Why were you late anyway?" "My dad slipped and broke his finger. Had to take him to the hospital." "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I almost got you fired for something that was entirely beyond your control." "Oh, Tom, you are such a modern-day Prometheus." Kanazawa laughed. "G'day, feeling like a jerk now?" "No. Well, maybe just a little." "I won't argue with that, you fucking bastard." "Is your dad okay, though?" "He had to put his finger in a cast. He can't walk now, but otherwise he's fine." "That's an unfortunate situation, but I'm glad it's just a cast." "Actually, there was a strange story there." Kanazawa started to say something else, but a soft melody came from the back room. "Yeah, that might be my dad," she said, and rushed off. Tom was left alone. Though his solitude didn't last long, a few minutes later the doorbell chimed and a customer walked in. It was the same foreign man who had walked past that morning, who looks like some sort of supervillain in the making. "Welcome." Wait, oh, that went Northern English, what the hell? "Welcome," Tom greeted in Japanese. I'm quickly trying to think. What is welcome in Japanese? I don't know. I can picture from so many anime all the maid cafes where all the girls greet you at once, but I'm not going to try impersonating them. For some reason this didn't please the customer. He frowned even harder and asked, "Do you speak English?" For a moment Tom wondered why the man needed English. All the menu items were translated and the numbers required no explanation. Could it be that the customer just wanted to chat? Tom had grown unaccustomed to such things during his time in Japan. "Yes," he replied in the required language. Apparently Tom's response melted the man's frosty demeanour, as his face instantly lit up like a battery-powered flashlight. Tom even thought the man might cry tears of joy at any moment. He doesn't look like he's about to, but sure. "Arr, finally, I'm a pirate now. You're British, aren't you? Arr, you have a British accent, you do. Arr." "Yes, I'm from London, sir." "Finally." the customer repeated, moving closer to the counter. I desperately need to talk to someone in me native language. My head's about to explode from all the Japanese. This was exactly what Tom had feared. I'm afraid you'll have to order something for that privilege. Such a minor detail didn't faze the man.
Yar, of course. Do you have a vanilla caramel latte? I put a bit of grog in it while you're at it, yar.
Yes, sure.
I'll take one.
The man paid with his card and settled at the counter. And by card, we actually mean he paid with gold doubloons.
Yar, Tom, be your name, right?
Yes, sir.
Yar, call me Captain Michael.
Oh, he's from America, apparently. Sure, right. He's an American pirate.
From the US.
Pleasure to meet you, sir.
Tom, if you don't mind me asking, what brought you here?
Student exchange. I had Japanese classes in London and was sent here to continue my studies.
Yar, that'd be nice. I came all the way from Arizona to spend New Year's with my girlfriend. Me lady friend, me Bordy wench.
Oh, congratulations, sir.
You're nothing to celebrate. By the way, you wouldn't happen to know where I can buy C4, would ye? I'm going to need some explosives for blowing open an enemy ship.
Excuse me?
I want to blow up the damn airport, yar.
Sir, our cafe does not support blowing up airports or any other acts of terrorism. Well, is this going in an unexpected direction? Did I think this was going to be a festive take of romance in Christmas time? Or is this terrorism in Christmas time?
Yar, that'd be a shame.
Why would you even want to? Did something happen to you?
Yar, those idiots lost my treasure chest. And in that treasure chest were the engagement ring I were planning to give my Bordy wench tonight, yar. I feel like I'm stuck in Meet the Parents. Arr. I specifically put it in the checked luggage to avoid losing it in my pocket or carry-on, and now look what happened. This swabs at the airport. String 'em up from the yard arms.
That's awful, sir. What did the airport staff say?
Yar, they promised to find it in a few days, but a few days not be good enough, lad. But I don't have a few days. I was going to propose tonight.
Tom's heart sank. Despite his tendency toward bad jokes, he was a kind soul at heart. He even nearly ruined the latte art from the stress of listening. Oh, the indignity. Is there no way to buy another ring here?
I don't know, lad. I don't know. That ring belonged to my mother.
Tom had nothing to say to that. As someone who studied Japanese culture, he deeply respected sentimental items. Still, he personally found the value people placed on heirloom rings a bit overblown. Oh, God. Getting another hiccup again. If you don't mind me asking, is your girlfriend Japanese?
Yes, she be born and raised here, aye.
How did you two meet?
Yar, work. We met on the pirate ship on the high seas of the Spanish Main. We're in different locations of the same company, and by company I mean the same pirate ship. I'm the captain, she be the quartermaster.
That's amazing, sir. It's not every day someone flies across the globe for their partner.
Yar, we mostly met during business trips, and by business trips I mean when we were out on the Spanish Main, attacking treasure galleons, massacring their crews and taking the riches. She'd visit the US for work, and we spent a lot of time together, hanging around off the coast of the Gulf of... I nearly said the Gulf of America. The Gulf of Mexico, it's actually called, I think you'll find. It started with work lunches. We'd eat our bully beef and our salted taco... taco? Hardtack biscuits, that's what I wanted to say. Picking the weevils out of them, then it turned into dinners. At first it were just nice to hang out, but then it grew into something more, yar. And that were it. She's me only one now, me one and only wench.
Tom put the latte in front of the customer. Michael took a sip.
Yar, that'd be delicious. She would love this, my wench would. It's sweet just like she likes it.
Maybe you could give her something else for now and propose during Chinese New Year.
You're not much choice, I guess. Without the ring, I can't propose. Now I just need to figure out what to give her tonight. Luckily, I got another treasure chest full of gold doubloons. Bitches love doubloons.
Don't you have any ideas?
You're not really, other than the one I just outlined, you deaf sod. She usually buys what she wants herself. Yar.
What about something cute and symbolic?
Yar, like what?
A plush toy?
She don't like them.
Flowers and maybe some perfume?
Flowers be too cliché, and I'm scared to get the wrong perfume. She's not that kind of girl. She's a quartermaster on my vessel. She loves ripping people apart with her cutlass and shoot 'em in the face with her flintlock pistol set. That's the sort of girl she is. Plus, I don't know how Japanese women feel about that kind of gift, yar.
At the mention of Japanese women, something clicked in Tom's mind. Why don't we ask my co-worker? She's Japanese.
Yar, don't need to ask about perfume, but about something cute is a good idea.
Tom called out to Kanazawa.
G'day, what do you want?
What would you like as a New Year's gift?
PlayStation, lad.
Michael, recognising the word, chuckled. What about something cute?
G'day, PlayStation with a subscription.
That's not cute.
G'day, idiot. If someone gives me that, it'll be the cutest gift ever.
Well, thanks. After waiting for Kanazawa to return to the back room, Tom turned back to Michael. She's probably not much help.
Yar, I understood the word PlayStation, but that won't work on my ship. We don't have electrics. We're still sailing around on a wooden-hulled sailing vessel. Big, fully square-rigged ship. 3-master. 2 decks of guns. Yar.
Yeah.
Yes. Aye, probably not.
Somehow I missed you as a gamer.
No need to apologise, ye cabin boy. It's not immediately obvious.
There were hints. When I first started working here, during introduction, she said she was trained to be a necromancer. I thought it was just a dumb joke.
Yar, were that one of the character-defining moments writers talk about? And what be a necromancer? What kind of job be that?
Archaeologist.
Yar, of course.
Michael opened his mouth to say something, but a soft chime of bells interrupted him. He patted one pocket, then another, finally pulling out his actual bells, not a phone.
Aye,
he replied.
Aye.
I'm pressing... Oh, there we go. I'm pressing enter several times there to... Did you just say yes several times? I couldn't tell if the game had crashed for a moment then.
Fine, I'll meet ye there.
Tom couldn't help but admire the brevity of the conversation. Michael clearly didn't waste money on excessive phone chatter.
Well, cabin boy, I have to go. Thank ye for the coffee and the chat.
Thank you, sir.
I might stop by again if you see a giant square-rigged vessel pulling up outside in the waters with 2 decks of guns on it. You know it's me, with a black flag fluttering from the mizzen mast. If not, have ye a happy new year, lad.
To you too, sir. Best of luck.
Yar, I'll need it. Goodbye, you swab.
The door closed behind Michael, and Tom stood for a while watching the American disappear down straight. Oh yeah, he's American. Did you forget he's American? You wouldn't have thought it, would you? There were no other customers at the moment. The young man glanced at the clock. The minute hand was just approaching 11. With nothing to do, Tom decided to check in on Kanazawa. You know, I realised something today, he said, sitting down on a chair near the door.
G'day, congratulations.
Aren't you curious what it is? No. Too bad. For you. Because I'm going to tell you anyway.
Never doubted it. Can you wait a minute? I'll grab my headphones.
No headphones, especially since this is about you.
Oh, what is it?
I only realised today that you're a gamer. Kanazawa apparently wasn't surprised.
G'day, mate. Bravo, you wallaby.
And I finally came up with a response to your necromancer joke.
Necromancer joke?
You know, when we first met, remember? You said you were studying to be a necromancer. You wanted to raise Australian animals from the dead to make them 10 times scarier.
You remembered that?
Oh, I totally forgot. Well, you said you're studying to be a necromancer because you're an archaeologist. And I'm studying to be a garden spirit because I'm an orientalist. Sure, whatever you say. Let us, dear reader, pay homage to Kanazawa's restraint. She didn't roll her eyes heavenward with a cry of, "Why, oh gods?" She didn't slap her forehead or hide her face in her hands in mortification. She simply asked,
"How long did that take you to come up with, you thicko?"
"About 2 minutes."
Got it.
Tom, however, seemed prepared for this outcome. Anyway, I just wanted to share that thought. Thanks. Kanazawa shrugged.
G'day, if you were studying management, you could have joked about being a slave master.
Her comment coincided with the jingle of the doorbell, prompting Tom to smirk and go greet the next customer. It was quite timely. Welcome! The customer, however, didn't seem to appreciate his smile.
Oh, hello. Are you alright?
Okay, that's the voice we're going with for this character. This concerned customer turned out to be Ogasawara? I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'll try my best. Karen. A writer? Oh, she's a Karen, is she?
I want to speak to her manager.
Maybe that's the voice I should go. She'd been working on her latest novel for the past few months, and so had been stopping by the cafe almost daily. Since there were usually few patrons, management instructed the staff to be as accommodating as possible, and subtly encouraged her to spend more. As a result, Ogasawara grew fond of the surface and the cafe's tranquil atmosphere, regularly contributing to its income. Her monthly expenses could sometimes reach 100,000 yen. All parties were satisfied. It seemed this type of relationship was what biologists call symbiosis. Yes, I'm fine, Ogasawara-san. Happy to see you. I didn't think you'd come today. Why not? Well, it's New Year.
That's no reason to slack off.
The woman smiled.
But since it's a holiday, could you bring me those cheesecake rings and a maple latte?
Of course. Have a seat and I'll bring them right over. Ogasawara headed to her usual corner, laid out her writer's toolkit, a tablet with a keyboard, and put on headphones. The creative machine was in motion. While Tom prepared the coffee, Kanazawa emerged from the back room.
G'day, so that was Ogasawara-san?
Yes.
I just finished the latest book yesterday, Love Song of Blood. Have you read it?
Nope.
Why?
No time for this.
Idiot. We have a popular author sitting in our cafes every day and you haven't read a single one of her books.
I don't remember anything in the job description about reading novels.
G'day, what does the job description have to do with it? It's just disrespectful, you fucking wallaby.
Not finding time for her books is disrespectful?
Yeah.
Tom sighed. The Japanese understanding of respect filled him with despair. Fine, I'll read one eventually. What genre does she write in?
Magical mystery with a touch of erotica.
She writes erotic, magical romances.
Wow.
Wait, was that supposed to be her who said that, or was that Tom who said that? What? Nothing. I'll read one. Tom finished preparing the coffee, added the cheesecake rings to a plate, and carried the tray to Ogasawara. The writer sat with her back to him, so as he approached, Tom couldn't resist sneaking a glance at her screen. His eyeballs rolled over her bare skin, leaving a trail of blood behind. What? They passed over her magnificent aroused chest, her flat stomach, and were now hitting lower to the very... Tom suddenly lost all desire to read Ogasawara's books. Is she writing stories to go on DeviantArt? Is she writing weird stories to go on fanfiction.net? Slightly stunned, he set the food and coffee down, then returned to the counter. The words replayed in his mind. He glanced at Kanazawa in horror. What? Nothing. The terrifying truth about Ogasawara's works and Kanazawa's tastes had shaken him, leaving him in a daze. Would he ever recover from this grim knowledge? He realised his attitude towards these two girls will never be the same again. Good for you, Tom. Can we talk to the pirate guy again? As Tom predicted, the mall began to fill up closer to lunchtime. Men and women, young and old, singles and couples, locals and foreigners, every kind of person flowed through the massive stream of humanity. Though vastly different in appearance and backgrounds, they all shared a common goal and mood, to spend the evening joyfully. Tom's cafe also started getting busier. First, a boisterous group of students entered. Ogasawara seemed displeased though, followed by a young couple, a father with his little son. We got your toy, now it's my turn. Then more and more customers. When the orders were finally all completed and the cafe was left with only Ogasawara as a customer, Tom was mildly surprised. That's it? He asked, approaching the counter. G'day, not enough for you? Don't worry, more will come. On days like this there's hardly any time to rest. As if to prove her right, the door chime jingled again. Only this time the new customer was entirely unexpected. Oh, is it Santa? Good my Santa voice on. Ho, ho, ho! A booming voice rang out at the entrance. Welcome, Santa. Oh my. This is a very fancy Santa, this one.
Ho, ho, ho! Hope you've been good this year, young boy. I'd hate to have to scratch you off the nice list, Tom-kun.
You know, these voices that I'm doing are slowly causing my throat to become knackered. I should have got myself a glass of water before I started this recording session. You know what? I might just take a jump cut, if I can, and then just go and get myself a drink, and then continue on. 1 second all. Okay, back in, ladies and gentlemen. Santa's words puzzled Tom, not because he was particularly worried about staying on the nice list, but because the voice sounded oddly familiar. Matsuda-kun?
Ho, 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 the one and only. Congrats, you're the first to guess.
This year, Santa Claus went by the name Matsuda Keisuke. At 19 years old, he's got a very deep voice though. Matsuda worked as an entertainer, though that hardly mattered. What mattered was that Matsuda was one of the few Japanese acquaintances Tom had managed to befriend.
Ho, 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 can you make me a nice latte in a large cup, young boy? And 3 tiramisu, please.
Tom chuckled at the thought of Santa drinking iced coffee and went to prepare the order. Only later, as he placed 2 tiramisu slices on a tray and reached for the third, he couldn't help but feel suspicious. "Why are you alone? Where's Nishimura-san?" "Ho ho ho, she's having lunch at another cafe. We had an argument," explains the 3 tiramisu. "No, you idiot, I'm not stress eating. I just didn't have breakfast. Even though I'm Santa Claus. Well, technically not, but yeah. I'm sticking with this silly voice for him, even though technically he's not Santa. Only iced coffees because this costume is hot as hell. Ho ho. Can't take it off? At least a beard. Or actually, at least a beard, I should probably say. Ho ho ho, if it were possible, do you think I wouldn't take it off? Don't make Grandpa Claus sad." Tom, however, was just as sad. Nishimura-san was Matsuda's girlfriend, and coincidentally, the second person Tom had managed to befriend. Their quarrel threatened to shrink Tom's already limited social circle, so he felt compelled to intervene. Time to play Cupid in disguise, armed with a metaphorical bow and arrow to rekindle their love. Not only is he a modern-day Prometheus, but he is also Cupid, the bringer of romance. Tom. But first, Cupid needed more information. "What did you argue about?" "Oh ho ho, we had differing opinions." "On what?" "New Year's plans. I wanted to visit my parents in the countryside. She wanted to spend it with me." "And that's it? Isn't that enough?" "Not really. You ever heard of compromise?" "I know that, genius. Oh ho ho, but New Year's is traditionally a family holiday for us. Ho ho ho." "In Britain, we've got the same tradition, you know." "In your country, this tradition does not seem to be so well developed. My parents would be upset if I didn't come home." "Why doesn't Nishimura-san spend New Year's with her family?" "It's complicated. They haven't spoken in years." "So you're her only option? Otherwise she's going to meet him alone?" "I guess so." At that moment, Tom suddenly realised how similar he and Nishimura were in this regard. Both were spending New Year's alone, both trying to avoid it. The difference was that one had come to terms with their solitude, while the other kept fighting it, albeit through manipulation and sulking. Could he blame her for that? Normally, Tom found such behaviour annoying, but this time he felt pity. He could almost picture Nishimura sitting alone that evening, sipping wine and watching a series on her laptop. Or maybe he was confusing her with himself, or one of the countless others spending the holiday alone. "What are you going to do?" "Ho ho ho, finish eating then go back to work." "I meant about Nishimura-san, you fool." "I don't know. I'll think about it." Just then the door chime jingled again, and Tom went to greet the customer. "Welcome." Standing in the doorway was Nishimura-san, dressed as Santa's helper. Right, yeah, what voice should I give her? Scottish? "Oh, hi, Goodman-san. Is Matsuda-kun here?" "Yes, he's over here. Over there, even." "Thanks." She walked over, whispered something to Santa, and left soon after. Santa quickly polished off the rest of his tiramisu and began gathering his things. "Ho, ho, ho. Well, time for me to get back to work. Sorry, I just skipped that by accident," he said to Tom. "And remember, be a good boy, or Santa will come deliver you coal this year, and you'll get no presents. I know what you do, I'm Santa. I slide down your chimney, and watch you in your sleep every night. I know, Tom. I know what you do with your todger at midnight. Ho, ho, ho." Tom glared at him with his most exasperated look, and then deadpanned, "We'll be happy to see you again." When the door closed behind Matsuda, Tom glanced around and realised he was being watched, and watched with great pleasure. Ogasawara was smiling at him, her head propped up on her hand. It was fair to say that her entire posture exuded extreme curiosity. She resembled a zoologist who had just discovered an unprecedented species, and was now pondering how to get the poor creature to the lab and study it thoroughly. Tom felt uneasy under her gaze. He smiled and shrugged. "My friend, he works here." Ogasawara couldn't smile in response. She was already smiling, and only further widening of the mouth would have broken the fabric of reality. What is she, the fucking Cheshire Cat or something? Instead she straightened up, adjusted her glasses, and thus seemed less intimidating. The obsessed zoologist transformed into an intrigued one.
"I thought so. Can I use that in my novel?"
"What exactly?"
"I'll be happy to see you again."
She tried to mimic Tom's intonation while saying the phrase, and to his surprise she did it quite well.
Such expression.
Tom had never interacted with writers before and didn't know they could find inspiration in anything, even in such trivialities. After thinking for a second, he didn't see any hidden meaning in her request and shrugged again.
"Of course."
Wrong voice. "Of course, go ahead."
"Thank you so much."
The conversation should have ended there, but Tom remembered the owner's advice about increasing sales. "Would you like another coffee?"
"Yes, I wouldn't mind."
"A latte with maple syrup?"
"Yes."
"Coming right up." Congratulating himself on his sales skills, Tom went to prepare the drink. While he was making it, another group of customers entered the cafe, and for the next half hour, Tom was mixing, pressing, heating, drawing latte art, and performing other barista tasks. But nothing lasts forever, especially customers. Soon, Kanazawa, who was working the register, handed a coffee to the last visitor, thanked them for their purchase, and after waiting for them to leave, stretched luxuriously. There were no more customers for the moment. "G'day, I'll step away for a minute." "OK." Kanazawa went to the back room, and Tom, after glancing around again, took his phone out of his pocket. But just as he was about to check if Laura had replied... "Oh my. Who is this? The Grim Reaper? Are you about to die, Tom?" "You scared me." The man said nothing. It was actually creepy music. His coat was so dark that Tom couldn't even tell if the visitor was looking at him or not. "You mean... Are you referring to his hood, not to the colour of his jacket?" "Drink some water. Sorry I didn't see you come in." "Welcome." The man remained silent. "What would you like to order?" Still silence. What a strange cosplayer, thought Tom. Yet his silent arrogance somehow amused the barista. "You probably want espresso made with dark roast beans?" No response. "I can add blackcurrant syrup and sprinkle some dark chocolate on top." The cosplayer let out a barely audible sigh. Then he raised his hand as if offering Tom a piece of candy, and a moment later an image appeared in the air. Wow! Cool! It was the first time he had seen such clear projections. Even in sci-fi movies they weren't this good. I wonder where the guy was hiding the projector. The image showed a simple cappuccino with cinnamon. "Is this what you want?" The coffee in the image disappeared, replaced by the word yes in English. "One moment," Tom said, and went to make the coffee. A minute later he placed a cup in front of the cosplayer. The cosplayer, as usual, didn't react. "That'll be 550 yen. The guest didn't move. "Sir?" Then something strange happened. The cup floated into the air and hovered at the level of the cosplayer's face. "What is happening?" The coffee inside began to vanish, but Tom wasn't fazed by such tricks. "That'll be 550 yen. When I get my thoughts on money, I become very tunnel-visioned, old boy," he insisted. And then the unexpected happened. The cosplayer spoke. "Rubber," he said in a hoarse, gravelly voice. "Sir, if you can't pay, you shouldn't have drunk..." And then everything turned white. Completely white. As if someone had shone a bright flashlight directly into Tom's eyes. The barista instinctively covered his eyes with his hand, and the white light disappeared instantly. Along with the cosplayer and the coffee. "What about the payment?" Tom rushed out from behind the counter and looked around. The entrance door hadn't opened, otherwise the chime would have rung. Where the hell could he have gone? Ogasawara-san? Yes. You see where the cosplayer went?" "What cosplayer?" "The one who was here showing images with a projector." Ogasawara tilted her head in confusion, her expression a mix of disbelief and puzzlement. Did Tom imagine it? "No, I didn't see anything, sorry," she finally said. "Alright, thank you. Sorry to bother you." Tom returned to the counter and froze. He could have sworn they weren't there before, but now they lay in plain sight as if mocking him. "Idiot, how could you miss us?" Of course he was looking at the money. 2 coins worth 550 yen. It seemed the cosplayer had left them behind. What nonsense, Tom thought, and put the money in the register. Too many magicians around these days. What strange interactions one has in this coffee shop. But as someone who has worked in a cafe before, yes, you get your fair share of weird interactions. A few hours later, the cosplayer reappeared at the cafe. This time a regular one, not a magician. "Welcome." "Hi," the guy replied wearily. "Matsuda-kun said your coffee is good." He lied. "We brew poison and sell it at exorbitant prices." "Run while you can." Tom wanted to say that, but of course he didn't. Instead he responded, "What would you like?" The cosplayer frowned as though calculating the square root of some large number. 2 questions. Do you make Irish coffee? And can you leave out certain ingredients? Yes and yes. What would you like me to leave out? Are you allergic? Yeah, something like that. The man leaned closer to Tom and lowered his voice. Can you leave out the cane sugar? Of course. And the cream? Suspicion began creeping into Tom's mind. Well, yes. The cosplayer leaned even closer. And the coffee? Tom shot him an icy glare. We don't sell whiskey on its own. This is a cafe, not a bar. The cosplayer cursed. If I don't leave anything out, just give me a regular Irish coffee. Tom printed the receipt and hung it by the coffee machine. Then he went to the back room and told Kanazawa to take over. G'day, why can't you make it yourself? It's your turn. Buzzkill. While Kanazawa brewed the potion, Tom returned to the counter. Who are you cosplaying, if you don't mind me asking? Some Irishman? Close? Oh, was that supposed to be the cosplayer saying that? I'm Sherlock Holmes. After quickly assessing how far the cosplay diverged from the original Tom Grimmist, his English soul felt deeply offended. How dare this strange man put another interpretation on a beloved literary character from the English literary canon? How dare he? Maybe I should go for a posh voice for this one. What's wrong? Nothing, it's just I'm British, so I have my own idea of Holmes. No, if I do posh, that's going to sound exactly the same as Tom's voice. To stick with American, don't take it so seriously, it's cosplay from a game. A game? Yes. Hate Zero. Hate Zero? They reimagined lots of famous characters there. Got it. At that moment, Kanazawa finished brewing the potion and handed the cup to Sherlock. He took a sip and praised it. Then suddenly he burst out laughing. What? They got so upset about their homes, and you haven't even seen the Watson. Maybe that's for the best. No, you have to see this, buddy. I'll be right back. Sherlock, radiating joy even, and completely ignoring Tom's silent curses, jumped off his stool and ran off. But our hero wasn't about to let fate strike him down a second time. He went to the back room, sat on a chair and pulled out his phone. Kanazawa... God, I can't talk all of a sudden. Kanazawa, who was also staring at something on a phone on a nearby chair, grew concerned. G'day, and who's at the counter? I'm tired, it's your turn. You've been out there for half an hour. Exactly, your turn. Besides, the customer wants to kill me. G'day, then go and don't disappoint him. I'm not going anywhere, leave me alone. The young man declared and demonstratively bent over his phone. Kanazawa groaned like an annoyed cow. Okay, sure. Pretended to take a swing at Tom, then got up and went to the counter. But the happiness didn't last long. Within a minute she returned, saying that the customer wanted to see Tom. Tell him I'm dead. G'day, go tell him yourself, you wallaby. That I'm dead? Whatever you want. Just go, she said, shoving Tom out of the back room. There was no choice. Grumbling, Tom emerged. Sherlock, beaming like a puppy, was waiting at the counter. Britsan, look, I brought you Watson. Oh my, is it a sexy girl, Watson? Oh my, she's a cutie. I mean, it's a very different Watson to what we normally expect, but yes. John Watson? Jane. Oh, Jane Watson, okay. Isn't Jane Watson also the protagonist of Danganronpa Dead End? Or going to be? Yeah, technically she is, isn't she? Is she not? Okay, yes. Okay, what voice am I giving you? German? The sorceress, yeah. Well, dear reader, just as we previously acknowledged Kanazawa's restraint, let us now praise Tom's incredible British composure. The young man quite literally felt his heart constrict and a cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Once again, he was utterly dismayed by this travesty, this absolute mangling of the English literary canon. But he betrayed no sign of his state, neither in word nor deed. You could say the barista behaved with maximum politeness and stoicism. He offered a crooked smile. He lacked the mental strength for a proper one and said, "May I take a photo with you?" Jane agreed and leaned on the counter. Tom, still not grasping the creative intent, also leaned on the counter and smiled. Sherlock, still inexplicably pleased, walked around the counter and took the photo on Tom's phone. Good picture, the cosplayer summarised, inspecting the result. Thanks. Und thank you. That's not German. That was going French for a moment. Then, und thank you, ja. Send me the photo too. Of course. She gave him her ID, and Tom added her as a friend and sent the file. It really turned out well, ja. Well, shall we go? She addressed Sherlock. Yeah, let's go, baby. The cosplayer paid, thanked Tom, and left with his friend, chuckling. Come again. Tom exhaled weakly. He suddenly felt deeply tired of people, of their emotions, their fussiness, and especially their sense of humour. They're beneath him. The young man checked the time. 3.5 hours left on this shift. So we're just going through a day in Tom's life here, basically. After a while, Ogasawara called for him. Can I get the check? Of course. Tom returned to the counter and began preparing the bill. A few minutes later, he handed it to her. I hope you were able to work productively. Our cafe is a bit noisy today. It's fine. In fact, I finished an important text today. Really? Congratulations! Tom walked to a special tray, took a handful of candies, then he went to Ogasawara and poured them into her palm.
What's this?
A small gift, for the new year and your hard work. Ogasawara blushed.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you too.
She paid for her order and began packing up. Tom returned to the counter and stared at his phone again. There were no other customers in the cafe.
Excuse me.
Ogasawara was back at the counter. She packed a bag, but it was still without her coat. Probably in the cloakroom, Tom thought.
I want to wish you a Happy New Year once more, and give you this.
She held out an envelope to Tom.
Just please don't open it until I leave. Promise?
All right, Tom exhaled, stunned.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
And with that, she left, walking so fast it was almost a run. Is this a confession of love? Tom froze, the envelope still in his hands. He even forgot to say goodbye to the client.
G'day, no way.
Kanazawa's incredulous voice came from the back room.
She gave you a love letter, you fucking wallaby.
Why do you think that? Of course Tom thought so too, but he didn't want to believe it. After all, he had a girlfriend, albeit across the ocean. If it was a love letter, things would get complicated.
G'day, what else could it be?
Especially with conditions like that. And you were eavesdropping, weren't you?
I heard it by accident.
It might not be a love letter. She might have just decided to print off the raunchiest story she's ever written and put it in an envelope and give it to us.
I heard it by accident.
Sure you did.
What does it matter if I did or not? Are you going to open it, you wallaby?
What's it to you? It has nothing to do with you.
I just want to know if it's a love letter or not.
Tough luck. Tom put the letter in his pocket. Kanazawa was in shock.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I'll read it later.
G'day, you stupid. Well, she's nearby, watching and waiting. Don't you care about her feelings?
At that moment, Tom wished for customers for the first time in his life. No decent excuse came to mind. What if Ogasawara really was watching him from somewhere? She must be nervous. Go to the back room. I'm not reading it in front of you.
G'day, fine, but you'll tell me later. Go away.
Oh wait, that's probably supposed to be Tom saying go away.
Alright, no need to yell.
When Kanazawa left, Tom opened the envelope. Carefully he pulled out the letter and unfolded it. It was written in English.
To avoid any misunderstanding,
Tom thought. Oh wait, that's him, not her. I thought that was something she'd written. He began reading.
Hello, Tom.
If you're reading this, that means I'm already dead.
Just kidding.
Sorry, I always make stupid jokes when I'm nervous. It's been a defence mechanism of mine since childhood. Though if you think about it, there's a grain of truth in that joke. By the time you're reading this letter, I'll be so anxious it won't be far from feeling like death.
Sorry again. Alright, I'll stop joking now. I spent a long time debating whether I should write this letter or not. I've never written one before and I must say it's hard. Writing novels is easier. Sorry, there I go straying off topic again. Topic again, even. I'm writing this letter because I have something I need to tell you. Because if I don't gather the courage to do it today, I'll keep hesitating and putting it off forever. God, I need a sip of water. This voice is killing me throat. And every day I'll hate myself a little more for it. I like you. A lot. I don't know how it happened. I don't even fully know how to put it into words. But I want to look at that todger of yours and grab all of that chipper-hearted dick. Oh my. I say I'm being a bit crude and vulgar. It's just your voice, your smile. Everything about you seems so wonderful to me. You are wonderful, and I've secretly been watching you as you walk naked round that house. I've got a high-powered pair of binoculars and a camera. I can watch you for hours, always curious about what you're thinking. Every time I walk into your cafe, I tell myself it's just for coffee or to work on my book. But the truth is, I come to see you. You probably don't even realise it, but your presence brightens me day. I don't know if you have a girlfriend. The thought this letter might inconvenience you terrifies me. If that's the case, then please forgive me. Let's just pretend this letter never existed. Let everything stay as it was. I know it's a lot to ask, but please don't punish me for daring to speak about my feelings for the first time in my life. But if by any chance you accept this letter, may I ask you to call me? I'll leave my number below. I understand we hardly know each other, have never talked outside your work, but maybe we could just meet and talk. That means so much to me.
I need another sip.
There we go, it's better. And with that, I'll wrap this up. It's so scary to reread it. I feel like if I do, the rational part of me will take over and this letter will go unsent yet again. In any case, thank you for being you. And even if this story remains our little secret, I'd still be happy. Just because I found courage to confess and get an answer rather than live with endless uncertainty and doubt. Happy New Year, Tom. May it bring you nothing but joy. Karen.
Tom stood frozen. His fears were confirmed. It really was a love letter. Things had just gotten a lot more complicated. Though had they? Was this really as complicated as it seemed? Tom knew he wasn't going to call Ogasawara. He already had a girlfriend, even if she was in London. Of course, he felt bad for Ogasawara, but there was always that wretched but. Tom thought back to this morning. Wasn't it just today that he considered breaking up? That this wasn't a real relationship? Not without being able to hug, to kiss, or even just to have a proper conversation? How strong were his feelings for Laura anyway? No, that wasn't the right question. The real question was there anything left of his feelings for Laura? Or was it just a ghost lingering in his soul? A reminder of happiness long gone? On the other hand, did he feel anything at all for Ogasawara? To him, she had always been a customer, just a customer. He'd never even considered her in a romantic way. Come to think of it, though, she was attractive. The sound of the doorbell sharply pulled Tom from his thoughts, making him flinch. Hello? Oh, I mean, welcome. Michael entered the cafe with a woman. Pirate Man's returned. This must be the woman he'd mentioned this morning.
Yar, Tom! Let me introduce ye. This is Hannah. Hannah, this be Tom. We met earlier this morning.
Though Tom was lost in deep thought, the sight of the guests made him smile. Michael and Hannah held hands sweetly, their faces glowing with happiness. There was no trace of the incident from this morning affecting their relationship. They seemed like a completely happy couple, and Tom felt a warm sense of comfort from seeing them. Hello, Michael. Welcome, Hannah-san, Tom said in 2 different languages.
She's got to be a pirate as well, right? Oh, English is fine if you don't mind. Let's be kind to poor Michael. For Captain Michael.
The American shrugged.
Japanese be harder than I'd like to admit, yar.
It's one of the most difficult languages in the world, after all. 2 vanilla caramel lattes.
Look at ye, remembering me order from this morning, you swab. You make a good cabin boy, lad.
You also mentioned your friend here has a sweet tooth. Only after saying this did Tom realise the mistake he might have made. What if this wasn't that friend? What if Michael had brought a different girl? Unlikely, but what if? A vivid mental image flashed in Tom's mind. Hannah, enraged, ripping her blouse apart to reveal massive muscles, grabbing the nearest chair and smashing it over Michael's head. Luckily, Hannah simply smirked.
Yar, what are the secrets of mine did he spill?
Tom felt a weight lift off his chest. Michael wasn't cheating, and this was the same girl. No other secrets. He spent all morning talking about how much he loves you. Hannah covered her face with her hands.
My goodness, how embarrassing. I'm so sorry, lad.
No need to apologise.
She's always embarrassed by my displays of affection, yar. It's enough that I know about 'em.
G'day, 2 vanilla caramel lattes. Drink more water. The pirate voice often knackers my throat as well. Kanazara's voice sounded directly in Tom's ear. The young man nearly jumped. He had foolishly assumed his co-worker was still hiding in the back room. Don't sneak up on me like that. G'day, sorry. Tom glanced at the guests. At least they were amused. That'll be 1,340 yen.
Here you go. More doubloons for ye, said Michael as he handed Tom his doubloons, which Tom took.
All set. Michael took his card back while Kanazara began making the drinks. The guests stayed to chat with Tom.
So, how are ye?
Michael asked suddenly.
Did the 31st treat ye well?
For some reason, Tom was caught off guard by the question. The loneliness he had managed to forget while at the cafe re-emerged in full force. For the first time in his life, a girl, and not just any girl, but a beautiful and popular writer, had confessed her love for him, and he didn't even have anyone to talk to about it. Michael and Hannah were strangers he would likely never see again. But was it fair to Ogasawara? Ooh. Yeah, sure, tell about the letter, why not? Why not open up to these 2 strangers? On the other hand, she might never find out about it, and Tom really needed someone to talk to. Today I received a love letter. Tom instinctively knew that Kanazara behind him was utterly astonished.
Ah, you swab. Congratulations.
Michael clapped Tom on the shoulder.
Be she pretty?
Quite.
Well then, double congratulations, cabin boy.
There's nothing to celebrate. I have a girlfriend in London.
Oh.
Michael's cheerfulness faded quickly. Kanazara behind them probably looked even more surprised.
Our awkward situation that be.
Indeed, and I don't know what to do.
Yar, what does that mean? Did you just say you have a girlfriend in London?
We haven't seen each other in about a year, and I don't know if I still want this relationship.
So, be you thinking of breaking up with her?
Tom didn't have an answer to that question. Instead, another thought came to mind. What would you do if you were me?
Me?
Michael stroked his beard thoughtfully.
It depends on how I feel about the wench in London.
It's hard to say. Sometimes it feels like everything is already dead. No feelings, only memories remain.
Yar, then break up, ye swab. You've got one life, and trust me, it's not worth wasting it on suffering. It'll be better for both of ye.
Hannah, who had been silent all this time, suddenly spoke up.
Yar, I agree.
I should probably say at your age.
It might not seem obvious yet, but the older you get, the clearer it becomes that relationships that don't bring joy aren't worth it to her. Even if everything was good before, but later fell apart, that's life. People change, but that doesn't mean you have to stay together forever. Find yourself a new shit, lad.
Tom sighed. This situation evoked only one reaction from him.
Yar, don't be sad, mate. Years from now, you'll look back on this evening with a smile. Yar, I think so too. It all feels complicated now.
Her words were interrupted by a phone chime. Hannah pulled the phone from her bag, apologised and stepped out of the cafe. At that moment, Kanazawa brought over the coffee.
Thank you very much, you wench,
Michael said in Japanese. Kanazawa bowed and asked Tom,
G'day, do you still need me here?
No. Then I'll go... Oh, wrong voice. Then I'll go to the back room. And then it hit Tom. She doesn't understand English. He wanted to jump for joy. And he would have, if he weren't such a well-mannered Englishman. This whole time, the entire conversation, he had worried for nothing. Even if Kanazawa had overheard, she probably understood almost none of it. Well, good. Once she had left, Tom leaned toward Michael. I didn't want to say anything in front of Hansan, but still, did they find your luggage?
No. But I gave her another gift, just like he suggested.
I see. What was it, if you don't mind me asking?
Yar, a PlayStation 5.
Tom's eyes nearly popped out of his head. You're serious?
What do you think?
But before Tom could voice his thoughts, Hannah returned to the cafe.
Tom, I'm sorry, but we have to go. Yar. Miyagi called. Yar. He be waiting for us. Got it.
Then we really should get... Why is that Tom saying that? I should be one of them saying that. Michael and Hannah began gathering their things.
Well, Tom, whatever you decide, I wish ye luck, cabin boy.
Thank you, sir. Same to you. Please come by again.
We'll try. Bye. Farewell.
The guests left and the cafe grew quiet once more. Tom glanced at the clock. 1 more hour until closing. The last working hour of the year. That should mean something, right? At that moment the back room door opened and Kanazawa stepped out.
G'day, I have a favour to ask.
Let me drink more water. Tom briefly wondered what it could be. Want to leave early?
G'day, stop reading my mind.
Tom smiled. Of course Kanazawa would want to leave early on such an evening. Unlike Tom, she wasn't lonely. She had friends who wanted to drink with her, parents who wanted to be near her, and a grandmother eager to feed her thin granddaughter. You came late and now want to leave early too?
G'day, please. Name your price, I'll agree to anything.
Within reason. Tom was no stranger to closing up alone. In fact, he found it calmer that way. But his sense of fairness wouldn't let him let her off so easily. He had to demand something in return, and suddenly, Tom realised what it was. You can leave under one condition.
G'day, what is it?
You never ever tell... Oh, wrong voice. You never ever tell anyone that Ogasawara-san sent me a letter. You saw nothing, heard nothing, and have no idea about any letter. Understood? Kanazawa clearly didn't grasp the seriousness, but was more than happy to accept the terms. Fine, no problem. Then am I going? Go. And you won't tell... Oh, yeah. Mishima-san's the manager, I guess.
G'day, and you won't tell Mishima-san?
If you don't tell anyone about the letter.
Thank you.
Kanazawa beamed and dashed off to gather her things. Tom was about to check his phone, but Kanazawa interrupted him again. Not 10 seconds had passed before she emerged from the back room, already changed. How did you do that, sir? How did you do that so fast?
G'day, New Year's magic,
she said cheerfully. Kanazawa's explanation was so simple and universal that Tom was left speechless. He stood there, baffled, watching his colleague.
Enjoy your holiday, you wallaby.
The whirlwind that was Kanazawa blew past him and out the door. Tom could only hope that she didn't destroy some nearby village on her way out. Happy New Year, Tom muttered into the empty cafe. 50 minutes left to work. Yes, that time of day when business becomes very slow because it's that time when everyone's going home. 20 minutes before closing, the door chime rang treacherously. Oh, someone coming in 20 minutes before closing to order. Welcome. Oh, it's you. Santa Claus stood at the door once again. What do you want this time? Oh, ho, ho, quite the way to greet a guest. I might just leave a bad review on Google Maps. The cafe is good, but the barista Tom is rude, a misanthrope, a chauvinist, a racist, and a misogynist. Oh, ho, ho. Masuda's thesaurus amused Tom, but he didn't feel like replying to the jab. Ogasawara's letter had thrown him completely off balance. Fine. He waved a hand. You can't drop my rating below 0 anyway. So, why are you here? Ho ho ho, to mine crypto. Santa needs that cryptocurrency to buy all the toys that he's going to give to the children tonight. Wait, no, it's December 31st. Santa, you're behind schedule. Obviously I'm here for coffee. What kind of dumb question is that, young man? Aren't you supposed to be heading home already? The dressing room is packed. I figured I'd sit here for a while. Ho ho. All right, what'll you have? Ho ho ho, just a regular cappuccino with banana syrup. Got it. Tom walked over to the coffee machine and began preparing the cappuccino. He worked on autopilot now, placing the portafilter in the grinder, pressing the button, mixing, tamping, attaching it to the machine. But he was interrupted mid-step by Matsuda's voice. Ho ho ho, your phone's ringing. Tom patted his pocket and realised his phone wasn't there. He must have left it near the counter. Still, he couldn't rush to grab it. He needed to start the machine first. After spending a few seconds on that, he picked up his phone, but it was too late. The vibration had stopped and the screen displayed a missed call from Laura. Tom cursed under his breath and returned to the coffee machine. Was it your girlfriend calling? Yes. Judging by the way Matsuda's fake eyebrow shot up, he was very surprised. What? Seriously? What are you talking about? You really have a girlfriend? Yes, in London. Liar. Tom gave Matsuda a puzzled look. I can show you photos of us together. Oh, go ahead. I'll show you once I finish the coffee. But if you didn't believe I had a girlfriend, why ask? It was supposed to lead to an insult. I figured you'd say, no, I don't have a girlfriend, and I'd reply, because you're boring and depressed. Ho. Matsuda-kun, stop coming here, or I'll put something in your coffee. See? Misanthrope, chauvinist, racist, misogynist. And you hate Santa. At that moment, the coffee was ready, and Tom placed the cup in front of his guest. Ho. Did you leave out the poison this time? Try it and find out. What's New Year's without surprises, after all? What service? I hope not all of Britain is like this. Matsuda took a sip. Well, if there's poison in this, I can't taste it. That's something, at least. So you're going to show me the photos? Tom opened the gallery on his phone and showed Matsuda pictures of him with Laura. Matsuda let out a surprised "oh." Wow, she's cute. Are you okay with a long-distance relationship, young man? It's not like we have a choice. You could break up. You'd find a boyfriend pretty quickly. Tom let the comment slide. Maybe we will break up. It's hard. Yes, I get it. I've never been in that situation, but I understand. Let's talk about something happier. Like, how did you two meet? Sure, I'll tell him. Why not? Like normal people. We went to the same school, but different classes. I liked her for a while, and one day I got the courage to find her number and call her. She answered. I asked if she'd like to go out on a certain date. She said no. I hung up, collapsed onto the couch in despair, and broke it. Furniture always suffers for other sins. It turned out she got flustered and said the wrong thing. She couldn't go on that specific day because she already had plans, but she was free on other days. How did you find that out? She texted me a couple of hours later. Matsuda cursed. What's wrong? If she'd figured it out sooner, she could have saved the couch. Tom shrugged. Nobody's perfect. So, she texted you and you called her? Yeah. Let's clear my throat. Get another sip of water. There we are. Some things are better said aloud than through emojis. What an old-fashioned gaijin. How long have you been together? 3 years. But it looks like we won't make it to 4. Things are that bad, huh? Tom hadn't planned to vent, but the words tumbled out of him anyway. Yes, it's never been worse. But it's temporary, right? You'll see her again in a year. We still have to make it through that year. You will. Matsuda waved dismissively. I just think if you found someone you love, you should hold on to them. It's hard to find your person, but if you do, don't let them go. And what about you? Have you patched things up with Nishimura-san? Yes. We agreed to spend New Year's at her place, and tomorrow we're going to my parents' house together. Congrats. But as you can see, my problem's harder to solve than yours. Yours is complex, yes, but at least you could call her back. Tom tilted his head questioningly. Did this fool Matsuda really not get it? I can't. Why not? Because you're here. I can't chat on the phone while there's a customer in the cafe. Oh, so it's my fault? Sitting here drinking coffee, ruining your love life, young man? Pretty much. Matsuda shook his head. Nobody likes Santa Claus here. He finished his coffee in one gulp and asked for the bill. All right, I won't bother you any more. Maybe it really is serious and you need to call her back. Thanks. No problem. I hope it works out for you, little boy. I hope things work out for you, too. Come by again. Happy New Year. You too. Bye. The door closed behind the old man, and the cafe was engulfed in a strange semblance of silence. The music was still playing, of course, but Tom didn't seem to notice it anymore. In that moment, he was acutely aware of his loneliness, and his holiday spirit vanished without a trace. The workday was ending, and all that awaited him was emptiness and similar silence. If he was lucky, he'd warm up quickly under a blanket or kotatsu. At that moment, Tom remembered his phone. Right, now he could call Laura back. I wonder why she called. Maybe something had happened. Tom dialed a number and waited, but there was no answer. Laura must have been busy. Well, he'd just have to talk to her after work. Finishing his evening routine, which took about 40 minutes, Tom stepped out of the shopping mall and breathed in the crisp, frosty air with satisfaction. The street was bathed in light, giving it a warm and vibrant feeling, almost as if it radiated heat. Thousands of people were strolling along the avenue, and Tom unconsciously merged into their flow, walking until he reached the entrance to the subway. His time had run out. Even back at the mall, before leaving work, he had promised himself to figure things out. On this very street, in this very neighbourhood, he had to decide how to respond to Ogasawara's letter, and whether to continue his relationship with Laura. He wouldn't take these problems home. By the time he boarded the train, he needed to be a resolved man. Oh. Deny the past and give Ogasawara a chance, or try to maintain a relationship with Laura. Well, let me just take a safety save, like so. You know what, we've not even met Laura in this. We've not really interacted with her in any way. I say let's go with Ogasawara. Tom's mind replayed the words of Hannah and Michael.
Yar, relationships that don't bring joy aren't worth it. Life is be too short to waste on misery, it's a bad idea.
Just get rid of my mouse cursor off screen. They were right. A long-distance relationship made no sense. Tom felt no closeness, no support, no joy, no peace. These relationships gave him nothing but sad memories and longing. But Ogasawara... No, of course things weren't clear with Ogasawara. They hardly knew each other. At least with her, he could meet in person and have a proper conversation. And Laura... What, after all these years, after everything they'd been through, he was just going to end it? Right on New Year's Eve? Tom felt unbearably sorry for her. Well, thank you for making me feel like a dick now, game. What if she still loved him? What if she'd suffer? The last thing he wanted was for Laura to suffer. She didn't deserve it. But if he didn't tell her, Tom would be the one to suffer. He was already suffering now. In the end, wasn't this all just a question of who would have to endure the pain? At that moment his phone vibrated in his pocket. When he saw who was calling, Tom wanted to ignore it. It was Laura. Oh, here we go. Or is she interacting with her now? Accent? French. That's what we're going with. Allô? Hi.
How are you?
Fine, I just left work. How about you?
I just woke up and saw your message. You're all alone over there, right?
Yeah, everyone's left town. Okay, never mind, I'm not going to do French because that's going to knacker my throat. What if we go Russian? I see. An awkward silence hung in the air. It was time to decide. Tom clenched his fist so tightly his nails dug into his palm. We need to break up, he blurted out and immediately felt a strange sense of relief. The hardest part had been said. There was no turning back now, no room for doubt. All that was left was to move forward. What did you say, comrade? God, don't make me repeat it. We need to break up. I can't love you from this distance. Far away in London, Laura unexpectedly laughed. What's so funny? Why are you laughing? Laura didn't answer right away. She kept laughing, and Tom began to worry she'd lost her mind. I should thank you, comrade. For what? You spared me from having to say it first. Okay, turns out I made the best decision. Great, let's go make out with Ogasawara-san. It took Tom a moment to understand. So you wanted to break up too? You felt it too, didn't you, comrade? That it was falling apart. We're not the kind of people who can survive on few texts and calls a week. How long have you felt this way? Since beginning of the winter. And in Russia, winter is eternal, or rather since first snow fell. Snow had always been a special thing in their relationship. 3 years ago, the first snow came in November, and that was when Laura and Tom, then still high schoolers, shared their first shy kiss. Since then, they'd always marked the occasion somehow, by giving each other gifts or going out somewhere. But not this year. This year, they decided it was too inconvenient. We didn't even manage a call this time, comrade. You were already asleep. Tom felt an odd sensation, or an awareness of finality. It was over. 3 years of shared journeys would end here. There'd be no more of her smiles, no more hugs, no more kisses, no more skating under the open winter sky. Laura had given him so much. Maybe more than he'd given her, though he had tried his best too. They both tried, and sometimes they succeeded, sometimes they didn't. But now all of it would have to remain just memories. There is one more reason I made up my mind, comrade. I'm sorry to say, but I want boyfriend with dick bigger than chipolater. You told you do not do it for me, comrade. I am very sorry. That was my unconscious id speaking. I did not mean to say that out loud. Tom was startled. Could you have found someone else already? My dad got a job offer in Canada. We're moving there as family. So that was it. A move. They won't be able to meet and continue their relationship once Tom returned. Their paths were about to diverge completely. I see. There was nothing left to say. All that remained was to say goodbye. Most likely, forever. Thank you for these 3 years. I'm sorry it ended this way. I'm sorry too, comrade. They were good years. Yes, this had to happen. Take care of yourself. I hope everything goes well for you in Canada. We all hope so, comrade. You'll take care too. On behalf of Motherland. I'll try. Call if you'll need anything. I'll always be happy to hear from you. Okay, I will. Goodbye. Happy New Year, comrade. Happy New Year to you too, and to proletariat. Every time I do the Russian accent, it always strays into weird Soviet revolutionary. Goodbye. Tom hung up. He felt empty. The realisation that the breakup was inevitable didn't make it any easier. It still felt like a tremendous loss. And in a way, it was. Also, not the girl he had already lost her, but the familiar order of things. Life had changed, and now he had to rebuild it anew. But the new order also brought new hope. Tom thought about Ogasawara's letter, about the words that had made him admire her. If he was to start a new life, there was no better moment than now. Tom pulled out the letter and dialed the number written on it. Power metal unexpectedly blasted through his phone. He had to turn down the volume, it was that intense. Time passed, but the music played on. Nobody picked up the phone. Eventually it stopped, and a pleasant female voice informed him the person he was calling was unavailable. Maybe she's busy. But just as Tom returned the phone to his pocket, it buzzed again. The same number lit up on the screen. Hello? The voice on the other end was both familiar and unfamiliar.
This is Ogasawara. You called me.
Ogasawara, this is Tom. Are you okay? You sound like you're out of breath.
I'm fine. I just left my phone upstairs and went to the kitchen. Sorry I didn't answer right away.
She must have run back upstairs. No problem. At that moment all of Tom's words vanished from his mind. He regretted not preparing his speech in advance. Ogasawara was silent too. She seemed even more nervous than he was. Ogasawara-san, I read your letter. Silence again. You wrote it willingly, right? The girl chuckled.
Oh, no one was holding a gun to my head, if that's what you mean.
Tom took a deep breath. Then would you agree to meet me? We could go for a walk or grab coffee somewhere. Ogasawara answered without hesitation.
Sure. When?
I'm free the next 3 days. When's good for you?
How about today?
Today? Tom hadn't expected such speed. I thought you'd be celebrating with your family.
No, they've gone abroad to visit relatives.
And you?
I felt like staying here.
Okay, you need to drink more water. Wet my whistle.
So what do you say, lad?
The prospect of spending New Year's wrapped in a blanket in front of a laptop suddenly vanished. Instead, he'll be walking with a slightly strange but undeniably charming girl. This was the kind of New Year's beginning he liked. Yes, I'm free. Where should I meet you?
I'll send you a pin on the map. And I have one request.
What is it?
Please call me Karen.
All right, Karen. Tom smiled and heard her laugh in response. And is that where it ends? On a heartwarming ending? A new beginning? Finn! There we go! Coffee, Snow and you. I just got achievement New Hope. You entered into a relationship with Ogasawara. So I feel like if I had tried to stay with Laura, that probably would have been a bad ending, I would imagine. But yeah, well there you go. That was Coffee, Snow and you, ladies and gentlemen. Nice little festive VN for Christmas and all that. I thought that was nice and decent enough for what it was. The characters were all, nice enough. I enjoyed it overall. So there you go. If you want to, find this for yourself on Steam, I think it's really cheap, this game. I don't think it's free, but I think it doesn't cost much. So if you want to have a look at that, and play it for yourselves, go and check it out and all that. Other than that, we will wrap up here, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope you did enjoy that heartwarming little story. As usual, my social media links are all down the video description, along with the links to my propagandist channel, blah blah blah. A like is of course always appreciated if you did enjoy it. Sorry, I'm garbling my words. Alright, well, in that case, ladies and gentlemen, I'll say have a wonderful Christmas and a good New Year and all that. And yeah, have a nice relaxing time. Goodbye, everybody. Alright, so see if we can actually find this path onto where this 55 watchtower is. See what the deal is. Right for that in case I need it. I've got 13 reserve bullets in this thing. So it should be fine, right? If it shows up there, for that matter. I'm sure it'll be good and golden. But no, what was I saying? Yeah, the fact that you can get so over-encumbered very, very quickly in this game, I don't know, I'm not sure I like that. And I get that the devs are going for realism, quote-unquote,